My name is Rachel Kim. I'm 31 years old. And I found out my younger sister was pregnant through an Instagram story, not a phone call, not a text, an Instagram story. I was sitting in my car after a 12-hour shift at Seattle Children's Hospital. I'm a pediatric nurse. I just finished helping a 6-year-old through a bone marrow biopsy, and I was exhausted. I pulled out my phone to decompress, scrolling mindlessly. Then I saw it. A pink balloon arch, rose gold decorations. My sister Emily, 28 years old, standing in the center, with her hands on her belly, beaming. The caption, "Can't wait to meet you, baby girl." I stared at the screen for a full minute. My hands went numb. She was pregnant. And I was finding out the same way her 847 Instagram followers were. I kept scrolling. The next story showed a close-up of a onesie that said, "Worth the wait." Then another, "Baby shower this Saturday, so blessed to celebrate with family." Family. I looked at the date, Saturday, 3 days away. I wasn't invited. I sat in that hospital parking lot for 20 minutes, staring at my phone, waiting for a text that never came, waiting for my mother to call and explain that it was a mistake, that the invitation got lost, that of course I was included. Nothing. Finally, I called my mother. She answered on the fourth ring. "Rachel, hi. I'm actually in the middle of something. Emily's pregnant." Pause. "Oh, you saw the post." "I saw the post, Mom. Why didn't anyone tell me?" Another pause. Longer this time. "We were going to tell you. We wanted to wait until she was further along. You know how you get." "How I get?" "Rachel." Her voice dropped into the tone, the one she used when she was about to say something she thought was for my own good. "We thought it might be hard for you, with everything you've been going through. We didn't want you to make it about you." I felt something cold settle in my chest. "Make it about me." "You know what I mean." Emily wanted her shower to be joyful, positive. She didn't want tension. Tension. That's what they were calling it now. "So I'm not invited." "Rachel, it's not that you're not invited. Am I invited, Mom?" Silence. "We thought it would be easier this way." I hung up. I sat in my car and stared at the hospital exit sign for another 10 minutes. Then I drove home, climbed into bed, fully dressed, and didn't move until my alarm went off the next morning. Here's what my mother meant by how I get. For the last 3 years, I've been trying to have a baby. My husband Daniel and I started trying right after we got married. A year passed. Nothing. We saw a specialist. Unexplained infertility, they said. We tried IVF, 4 cycles, 4 failures. The first time I told my family. My mother said, "It'll happen when it's meant to happen." My father said, "You're putting too much pressure on yourself." Emily said, "Maybe it's a sign you should just relax and travel for a while." The second time, I didn't tell anyone until it failed. My mother said, "See? You're stressing yourself out." The third time, I told no one. The fourth time, I stopped going to family dinners for 2 months because I couldn't sit through another conversation about God's timing. Apparently, that made me negative. Apparently, my grief was inconvenient. So when Emily got pregnant on her first try, naturally, no assistance, just decided she wanted a baby and then had one. My family decided I was too broken to be allowed in the room. I didn't tell Daniel about the shower. Not at first. I went to work. I smiled at patients. I held babies in the NICU and told their parents they were doing a great job. I drove home. I made dinner. I went to bed. On Saturday, the day of the shower, I stayed in bed until noon. Daniel asked if I was feeling okay. I said I was tired. He didn't push. That evening, my phone lit up with Instagram stories, the shower, pink and gold, a diaper raffle, a onesie decorating station, my mother, my aunts, my cousins. Everyone smiling, everyone celebrating. I watched every single story. And then I opened my email. There was a message from my sister. Subject line: quick favor? I almost deleted it, but I opened it. Hey, Rach. I know we haven't talked much lately, but I wanted to reach out. Daniel mentioned you're the trustee for Grandma's estate, and I was hoping we could talk about an early distribution. We're setting up the nursery, and things are adding up fast, LOL. Could really use like $45,000 to get everything we need. Let me know. Love you. I read it 3 times. $45,000 for a nursery, for a baby shower I wasn't invited to. I closed my laptop and pulled out a file box from the top of my closet. Inside, copies of my grandmother's trust documents. My grandmother, Helen Kim, passed away 2 years ago. She left behind a $200,000 estate split between me and Emily. I was named trustee. The money was supposed to be distributed when we each turned 30 or earlier under special circumstances: weddings, medical emergencies, first home purchases. But there was a clause my grandmother had insisted on. I found it on page 12. Distribution of funds is contingent upon the beneficiaries maintaining familial relationships in good faith as determined by the trustee. Exclusion, alienation, or deliberate harm to family members may result in forfeiture or delay of distribution. Grandmother Helen had been estranged from her own sister for 40 years. She didn't want that for us. Emily had been asking me for early distribution for 3 months. I'd been stalling, saying I needed to consult the estate attorney, that there was a paperwork to file. The truth was, I didn't want to sign off on $45,000 for a nursery while I was still paying off $30,000 in IVF debt. But now I had a reason. I called the estate attorney Monday morning. His name was Richard Chow. He'd handled my grandmother's affairs for 20 years. Rachel, good to hear from you. What can I do for you? I need to formally deny Emily's request for early distribution. Pause. On what grounds? The family inclusion clause. She excluded me from a major family event. Deliberately. My mother confirmed it was intentional. Do you have documentation? Instagram posts, text messages, a voicemail from my mother explaining why I wasn't invited. That should be sufficient. I'll draft a denial letter. Do you want me to send it directly to Emily? I thought about it. No, hold off. I'll let you know when. 3 weeks later, my sister went into labor. It was 2 a.m. when my phone rang. My mother. Rachel, Emily's at the hospital. She's having the baby. I sat up. Is she okay? She's fine, but we need to talk about something. What? The hospital bill. Her insurance isn't covering as much as we thought. The birth, the epidural, the overnight stay. It's adding up. We're looking at about $8,000 out of pocket. I waited. We were hoping, since you're the trustee, maybe you could release some of Emily's trust money early, just to cover the medical expenses. You want me to give her $8,000. It's her money, Rachel. Technically, it's Grandma's money, and I'm the trustee, which means I decide when and if it gets distributed. Rachel, she just had a baby. This isn't the time. She had a baby shower 3 weeks ago that I wasn't invited to. Silence. That's what this is about? No, Mom. That's what the trust clause is about. Grandma put it in writing. Family inclusion. Emily violated it. You're going to punish your sister because of a baby shower? I'm enforcing the terms of the trust. Rachel, I'll come to the hospital, but I'm not bringing a check. I hung up. I arrived at the hospital at 6 a.m. I wore scrubs. I'd just gotten off my shift and I didn't bother changing. I stopped at the gift shop and bought a small stuffed elephant, not because I wanted to, because it's what you do. I took the elevator to the maternity ward, room 314. I knocked. "Come in." Emily was in the bed, holding a tiny bundle wrapped in a pink blanket. Her husband Kyle was in the chair next to her, looking exhausted. My mother was standing by the window. Emily looked up. "Rachel, you came." "I came." I walked over and looked at the baby. She was small, dark hair, sleeping. "She's beautiful. Her name is Sophie, Sophie May. That's a good name." Emily smiled. It was the first genuine smile she'd given me in months. "Mom said you might be able to help with the hospital bill." I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope. I handed it to her. "What's this?" "A letter from the estate attorney." She opened it. I watched her face change as she read. "Dear Ms. Emily Kim, this letter serves as formal notification that your request for early distribution of $45,000 from the Helen Kim Family Trust has been denied. Per the terms of Section 7, Clause C, distribution is contingent upon maintenance of familial relationships in good faith. The trustee has determined that your exclusion of your sister, Rachel Kim, from a major family event, your baby shower October 14th, 2024, constitutes a violation of this clause. Additionally, your subsequent request for emergency funds, $8,000 for medical expenses, has been denied on the same grounds. Your portion of the trust, $100,000, will remain in the estate until you reach the age of 30, or until the trustee determines that the terms of the inclusion clause have been satisfactorily met. Sincerely, Richard Chow, estate attorney Emily, looked up at me. "You're serious." "I'm serious." "Rachel, I just had a baby." "I know." "You're really going to do this over a baby shower?" "It's not about the shower, Emily. It's about the fact that you decided I was too broken to be part of your life. And then you asked me for money." My mother stepped forward. "Rachel, this is cruel." "No, Mom. Cruel is telling me I make everything about me when I've spent 3 years trying to have a child. Cruel is excluding me from a family event because my grief makes you uncomfortable. Cruel is asking me for $45,000 after you made it clear I'm not really family." Emily started crying. Not the angry kind, the exhausted, overwhelmed kind. Kyle stood up. "Rachel, we can't afford this bill." "Then you'll have to figure it out. Payment plans exist. Loans exist. You'll manage." "You're really not going to help?" I looked at the baby, then at Emily. I did help. I helped by enforcing the terms Grandma set. She didn't want us to become strangers. You made me one anyway. I set the stuffed elephant on the table and walked out. My mother called me 47 times over the next week. I didn't answer. Emily sent me a long text message. An apology. Sort of. "I'm sorry you felt excluded. That wasn't my intention. I was just trying to keep things light and positive. I didn't realize it would hurt you this much. Can we please talk about the trust?" I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, my father showed up at my house. He didn't call first. He just knocked on the door at 7 p.m. On a Tuesday. I let him in. "Rachel, we need to talk." "Okay." "Your sister is struggling. She's a new mom. She's overwhelmed. She can't afford the medical bills. And you're holding her inheritance hostage over a misunderstanding." "It wasn't a misunderstanding, Dad. She didn't invite me because she didn't want me there. She didn't want you to feel bad. So instead, she made me feel invisible." He sighed. "What do you want, Rachel? An apology?" "I want her to understand that excluding people has consequences. She's your sister, and I'm hers. But apparently that only matters when she needs something." He stood up. "You've made your point. How long are you going to punish her?" "I'm not punishing her. I'm following the terms of the trust. Your grandmother wouldn't have wanted this." "Actually, Dad, she would have. That's why she put the clause in." He left without saying goodbye. 6 months later, I got a different kind of message. It was from Emily. No request for money. Just a message. I've been thinking a lot about what you said. You were right. I did exclude you, and I did it because I didn't want to deal with your pain. I didn't want to feel guilty for having something you didn't. That was wrong. I'm sorry. Really sorry. I read it 3 times. Then I called Richard Chow. I want to release $10,000 from Emily's trust. Medical expenses only. Send it directly to the hospital. Not to her? No, I don't want her to have access to the cash, but I don't want her in medical debt either. Understood. I hung up and sent Emily a text. I paid your hospital bill. Not because you ask, because Grandma wouldn't have wanted you in debt. But the rest stays in the trust until you turn 30, or until I see that you actually mean what you said. She responded immediately. Thank you. I do mean it. We didn't talk for another 3 months, but when we finally did, it was different, quieter, more honest. She asked about IVF. I told her the truth, that we'd stopped trying, that we were looking into adoption. She didn't say it'll happen when it's meant to. She said, I'm sorry that's been so hard. It wasn't much, but it was something. 18 months later, Daniel and I brought home our daughter. Her name is Lily. She's 14 months old. We adopted her through an agency in Oregon. We didn't have a big celebration, just a small dinner at our house. My parents, Emily and Kyle, Lily and Sophie, now a toddler. Emily brought a gift, a onesie that said, worth the wait. The same one from her Instagram post 2 years ago. I stared at it. I bought 2, she said quietly. I was going to give you one at the shower, but I didn't invite you, so I kept it. I've been holding on to it ever since. I looked at her. She was crying. I'm sorry, Rachel, for all of it. I took the onesie. I held it for a long time. Thank you. She hugged me. It was the first real hug we'd had in 3 years. 6 months after that, I released the rest of her trust money. Not because she asked, because she'd shown up. To Lily's first birthday, to our family dinners, to the small moments that matter. She'd included me, and that was the clause.